It was an absolutely beautifully spectacular day. The sun was shining, it was the middle of summer, the swell was good, and my cousin and I decided that we were going to head down to the beach really early to avoid the crowds and get an early morning body surf in. In our anticipation, we completely ignored the fact that there were these signs everywhere saying that it was a no swimming beach, and it was fishing only because of all of the undercurrents and all of the rips. Not that that would have hindered us anyway, because we were very strong swimmers, we had the confidence, we'd been trained in swimming all of our lives, we were real water babies. The surf didn't bother us at all. In fact, the bigger the better, the more wild and ferocious the waves, the more of a good time we were going to have. The fact that there was no lifeguards on this beach didn't bother us in the slightest. And so we headed out, and we were having an absolutely fabulous time. We must have been out there for about an hour before we really realised that the ferociousness of the waves was getting more severe, and we'd been treading water for a long time, and I was kind of feeling like we weren't really body surfing anymore, because we were being sort of tossed about and having to dive under waves so often that it really wasn't very fun anymore. These huge waves were coming, but we weren't able to catch them. We were just getting dumped and then pushed under and then dumped again. I signalled to my cousin Elise and said, "Oh, hey, let's head back into the shore." And she agreed with me, and so we saw the next big wave coming. And right at the back, we saw a huge one gathering up some speed. So I thought, yes, we're going to catch this wave and get back into the safety of the shore. Well, we did catch that wave, but it didn't take us into the shore. It just pounded us into the break point where all of the waves were crashing. And it just kept spinning us over and over and over until we both came up winded and gasping for air. You know, I had really long hair, it had completely gone over my face. I'm treading water, pushing the hair back and trying to breathe, and then look for the next wave to dive under or somehow push myself over. And then the next wave comes, and the next wave, and by this point, you know, I'm thinking, wow, it's getting really heavy out here, it's quite dangerous, we really need to head back into the shore. And I'm looking over at my cousin, and she's saying to me, let's swim across, let's try and swim across the waves. But that wasn't happening either. And it was then that I began to realise that this really was not a Baywatch episode, and there were no lifeguards coming out to get us, and we were out there and we were on our own. I mean, I lifted my hand in the air, that's what you're taught to do, right? It's, you know, wave. And the people on the beach, they just waved back at us. I was going to die, this was it. It was then that I really started screaming out to Jesus. Help, 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 Jesus, Jesus, you know, I'm too young to die, I'm only 15. Trying to make a deal with God, you know, please save my life and I'll give it back to you. From my watery grave, my Saviour heard me. He had given me the strength of my cousin to get me through that, because she kept swimming next to me and finding a way to reach me and saying, just hang on just a little bit longer, Jem, just hang on a little bit longer, because somebody from somewhere is going to come out and get us. And as we kept pushing ourselves over these waves or trying to dive under, and I becoming heavier and heavier from swallowing all this seawater, a man from about 15 hours north had come down to visit his mother and was just walking along the beach. And ironically, he was a lifeguard, and he came out and he firstly got my cousin, and I was left out there for 15 minutes on my own with a string of hope that he would, as he said, come out and get me, and he did. And he brought me back into the safety of the shore. As I lay there, loving the feel of sand and oxygen, he just left, you know, as quickly as he'd come, and I didn't even know his name. And I kind of figured after that if God was willing to save my life, then it was obviously for a purpose and a reason, and that I would, as promised, give it back to him. There is a Saviour. There is a rescuer. He was willing to save my life because he felt that it was worth saving. He came to save your life as well.